I guess just one more thing on that is just like, I guess kudos to DeMeco Ryans. He got the head coaching position for the Houston Texans. It seems like a great hire overall. I hope to keep him more than just one season, for the sake of whoever they draft at quarterback, and then for the fans' sake. So, but he seemed very deserving. I do remember him like as a player. I actually really enjoyed watching him. I think it was like a middle linebacker for the Texans. Went to a couple Pro Bowls there. So, yeah, I think that's a great hire. We'll see what happens if he can turn them into winners there. So,
yeah, I mean, all jokes aside, it's good to see that they're hiring based on merit. The guy was easily one of the best defensive coordinators over the last few years, I would say, and just on the rise. Former Texan. He is their third African-American head coach in a row. So hopefully, at least for the Houston Texans, from like a PR standpoint, they could at least say like, look, the previous two had really poor records. They weren't really, guys we had faith in to kind of carry the torch year after year. We're making this change, but again, like we're kind of staying, true to, what we're going after, what we're looking for. And we kind of feel like we're hiring based on who we think's the best fit at the time. And obviously this is a huge topic. If we look at Steve Wilkes and that whole situation in Carolina where they picked Frank Reich over him, and just everything that's happened with Brian Flores and his situation in Miami, and kind of a lot of African Americans, other minorities that have gone for these head coaching vacancies and felt like these interviews were fake and not truly genuine. There could be, and obviously is, like a ton of that. I think there's no question there is, but in any case, I'm just glad to see that he's getting the job. This doesn't feel like something that was just handed out because they had to, meet a quota. It's like, no, they picked DeMeco Ryans because, he looks like, a top coach on the rise, and hey, let's give him his first crack at being a head coach for our organization.
Yeah. And I guess it's like my thinking is like, I understand that not always the best, players are always the best coaches and all that. Right. But why is it always like somebody's white friend from college or something like that has absolutely no football background? Like I was the water boy. Like, do all these players suck at coaching? Like that's just what blows my mind. Obviously, like DeMeco Ryan, like he was an all-pro, former player, and everything like that. I understand, like, yeah, maybe he's not. Maybe he might not be the best teacher, but evidently he is. Being a coach and having very successful track records. But this is just where it doesn't make sense to me. Like, how are these scrubs from like Holy Cross or whatever coming in and just be like, oh yeah, I'll be a coach or whatever, and they just get the jobs that way, as opposed to somebody that works their ass off. Maybe is like the third defensive lineman for like a state Alabama team, just kind of is much more of a tweener rather than like a somebody that's just highly physically gifted and such, right? Like what's up with those players? Why are they not getting opportunities? I think that's just what just doesn't kind of boggles my mind. And I there's always that argument of, I guess, of like oh, hire the best person. I'm like, how do you know somebody's the best person? Like, and there's always evidently those track records of, failed, I guess, white coaches that are just, very like they've coached like two jobs. I guess I think about Cliff Kingsbury, right? He's sucked at everywhere he's gotten. Yet for some reason he's gotten like the best opportunities in the world, and is I think like in Thailand, right, with like a supermodel girlfriend or something like that. So like, what is he got? What charisma? Like, can he cook? Like, I don't know what's his whole deal. But how does he get all these opportunities? Yeah, we second guess Steve Wilkes. We second guess Eric Bieniemy. We second guess all these coaches, African American coaches with a resume. Yet we give this fucker like the keys to the city. That's just what boggles my mind. So yeah.
I mean, for Cliff Kingsbury specifically, I mean, to just have coaching relationships with two, phenomenal quarterbacks, those kind of situations, kind of fell in his lap after he, had been a Patriot, had found his way into the college ranks as a coach, and then kind of, again, just kind of stumbled. I don't want to, he found his way into having two great relationships with two gifted quarterbacks. And, the whole Arizona situation, it's like rearing its ugly head now, because it's like you've done nothing as a franchise but try to appease your star quarterback. And it really just reeks of like desperation and insecurity from that organization to just kind of like bend over to anything Kyler, Murray asked them to. And to this point, they truly have. And, with their next coaching hire, it'll be, really telling just to see like, hey, what direction are they going? Are they trying to establish like the best possible football team they can? Or are they still nervous that Kyler is going to be upset and, not stay long-term? And they're going to be the reasons for that because they didn't try to appease him. So like, I totally hear what you're saying. I mean, I think there's a lot of coaches out there that, truly, you kind of scratch your head and you wonder like, how did he get this job? Like, I don't know, Matt Eberflus. It's like, what, like, where is this coming from? Like, I trust our brain trust right now, in Chicago to make the right decisions as execs. Like, hopefully I see what they saw too, like in the interview process and everything else. But, there's no guarantee with any of this stuff. I mean, you'd like to think that DeMeco Ryans can go in, set the tone and, turn around the Texans in a couple of years and, he'll be the next great, quarterback, head coach and everything like that going forward. But, yeah, a lot of this is, based on hearsay, PR, how much they're buzzing toward the time of, needing to hire someone. It's like all this stuff kind of factors in. So it's no coincidence that a lot of these coaches like are taking 3 to 4 interviews at a time. So it's like, it all seems kind of funny, but, the ones that stick are really the ones that are, truly special.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah. And I like how you, I guess, brought up like the relationships. I think that's like a lot of it. It's just, a lot of, I guess, these coaches that come out of nowhere, like they just have really good connections. And, a lot of coaches can just, coaches that have been in place, right, for years or decades that are well connected. They just know a lot of other people. And, I guess they just happen to be, white and everything. And I think that's just like, yeah, where the big, I guess, divide is. And I think there's been like some talk about, getting more like African-American up and coming coaches more involved in like meetings and networking events, things like that with the NFL, which I think that's much more of the right direction, right? How do you know these people? They said they, so-and-so and so-and-so that I met at some networking event, or they worked with somebody at college, things like that. It just seems like, yeah, people need to get out of their, country club lifestyle and venture out, see what the world's like. So, I don't know. Yeah, I think that that way, or that direction is definitely the way to go. Because, I think regards to the coaching position and sports, getting in sports in general, a lot of it is just relationships. And, that's just kind of how you advance, making sure you're, cozying up with the right people and stuff like that. So,
for sure.
Yeah. But
and it doesn't help that 30 plus owners are white too. So as gifted or as smart or as great of a play caller that some of these coaches could be, African American, other minority groups, white. It's like at the end of the day, it's who the owner is most comfortable with, and like you're saying, building those relationships may be a little bit tougher if you're trying to bridge race and all those divides and such.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, but yeah, then it's like we see like a coach like Mike Tomlin out there. It's like, and yeah, I did listen to his episode of the podcast for was it The Pivot? I think they brought him on, and he talks about what things he's trying to do more so now, with the African American community and getting more coaching opportunities. So like he brought on Brian Flores as a coach because nobody was hiring him, which is nuts. Like, how do you go from, even if like you were like a bad head coach, but I think he had a 9-8 record, which I believe is the same record that Mike McDaniels had. Granted, Mike McDaniels had several injuries occur and things like that. But still, it's like Brian Flores had a 9-8 record. I think that was ahead of what a lot of people were predicting for the Dolphins. Like, how does he not get any calls? Like, that just boggles my mind. So, that's stuff where I appreciate someone like Mike Tomlin, who's been in the game, been with the Steelers, has, I think he's had like one losing season, or like one under 500 season, or out of like what, a decade plus with the Steelers. So, that's just, I think, there's a lot to be said about that. But then it's like, yeah, we had what the Tony Dungy's of the world, the Lovie Smiths, like, Lovie Smith with the Bears. I should maybe more articulate there. but like, how's there not more of a push to get, I guess, more African American, coaches again when the league is 70% African American? And it's like, again, are they all bad coaches? Are black people all of a sudden bad coaches? I don't get it. So yeah, to your credit though, yeah, I think when the NFL owner is thinking about who do I want to see at press conferences, I don't know, there's some subliminal thing. It's like, yeah, maybe they choose some white guy from Holy Cross. I don't know. So
yeah, I mean, Tomlin, 636 career winning percentage, actually no losing seasons. He's had a few 8-8 seasons over the years. But yeah, I mean, like you're saying, he's made very few mistakes as a coach, and has definitely secured the Steelers job. Probably until he's ready to walk away, because he's just really that good. And hopefully more can see their way, their pathway to a head coaching job soon. I think the push is definitely there. I heard Wilkes maybe joining Flores in the litigation, which honestly, like, great for the push, but in the same sense, like, hampers a guy like Flores, hampers a guy like maybe Wilkes if they're in litigation against an NFL team. I mean, I think any of these owners are also scared of like going through, legal battles with potential coaches, and just what happens if I hire you, you don't turn out to be great, and then you jump on me, for not, doing what I think is what's best for this franchise, or like you didn't push it as far as I thought you may, have the potential to. So it's like, it's a very sensitive issue. I mean, I'm definitely on the side of, pro hiring of minority coaches. It's just, I'm trying to also put myself in the shoes of an owner, and it's like, yeah, man, that on top of it's like pretty scary. And there's already, issues there in developing the relationships, maybe across racial lines, or having that kind of trust to hand the football team over to somebody maybe you're, genuinely don't feel comfortable having dinner with, often, or something like that. I don't know. So yeah, I mean, it's a weird world.